Alright guys, I'm back. Ooh, excuse me for looking down. I'm still looking at my notes here. Let's see. Something that nobody brought up, but I want to touch on is daycare. I have never had my kids in daycare because, well, let me take that back. I did. I had two of them in daycare at one point, and that was just because I just wanted to work, and I actually worked at the daycare, so I brought them with me, and we were new to the state and city, and so just something I wanted to do, and I took them out after a couple of months because of staff. It was just understaffed, and I did not like the way things were being handled with my child in particular. Um, she was not happy at one point, and nobody came across to my room to actually say, go. Can you go and sit with her for a little bit and calm her down and see what the issue is. Um, and it had gone on for too long, so I just said, I'm not gonna do this. I don't have to do this. We were pretty much fine on one income, and that's another thing I want to bring up. Some people say, I can't afford having, X amount of kids, so we're going to cut it off on, child number 3. Um, I don't think anybody can ever afford their kids. And to kind of put a number on it, you never know what's going to happen. You could be up at the top at, one day, and the next day there could be a job loss. So you can't really predict like that. You can't put a cap on it. It's just not it's not feasible. You know, I mean, you may think, okay, we want to give our kids this, this, and this, and we want to be able to do this, this, and this. I've never been to a point where I can say, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. I wish I had this, I wish I had that. I have faith, and I've been a firm believer that God will never put anything more on you than you can handle, and thus far I have been doing just fine. Um, we lived for many years, pretty much the whole marriage on one income. I did not work outside my house, and anything that I did make went right back into whatever I was doing. Um, so, the kids increased, and yes, we had 2 major job losses. And one of them, the last one, we had moved back from Texas to Northern California, which I didn't want to move to when we were in Southern California because I didn't like the environment, and it was just it was too expensive, and we ended up going anyways, and I stayed behind about 5 months because we had bought a house, and I didn't want to sell it, but the husband wanted to sell the house, and I said, I think if we kept it and came back, of course this house is going to be worth more. Well, he kept it on the market anyways, and after 5 months, eventually it sold, and we just ended up in Northern California. And at that point, we were living 3 hours away from where he worked. So, because we could not afford to actually live in the Bay Area. We were in Stockton, and he worked in Belmont. So that was pretty rough because he was gone pretty much all the time. Um, so, like I said, I've been raising the kids on my own pretty much my whole mommyhood. Um, and so after that job loss, we ended up coming back to Texas because we left my mom here. We had moved her from California after my little brother graduated, about a year after we had originally moved here. And, yeah, we came back with her for a while, and he ended up switching careers to become a long haul truck driver, which is what he still does today. And so after that, it did not take but a few years to recover from that loss, even, on the one income. We weren't as upper middle class as, we were, but we were not destitute either. We made things work and pretty much lived the same lifestyle. I did the same things I do now, consignment, resale shops. I can say really back then I really spent a whole lot more. I would live in the mall, literally. I was a shopaholic, and I found out a few years ago, it was because I was at home alone, and it kind of manifested into a depression. Being at home, by yourself, being married, taking care of kids, and you have everything you want, and, the money's there, and you just, you shop, but it gets to a point where you have everything you want. My major fetish is Dooney and Burke, and I would go into Dillard's, at the drop and come out with a Dooney. And I don't know, it just got to be excessive. So, over the years, it kind of wore me down because I realized that retail therapy was not working. I wasn't happy. And that's pretty much what led up to the divorce, even with, we ended up buying another house after we rented several, and we actually built the house from the ground. And I'm talking biggest house in the neighborhood, biggest lot in the neighborhood. Total, we had 17 rooms, 4 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms. Gorgeous. I mean, beautiful. Affluent neighborhood, pools, schools, tennis courts, hike and bike trails. Pretty much everything you wanted. And it was in the same city we initially came to. The city just grew. And I just wanted to give the kids the best. And I figured, this is it. We can stay here, and this is, our house. And, the house is really laid out, perfect. And that's where I last, did my child care. But like I said, I wasn't happy, and things just started to dwindle, pretty much after that. Like you said, you drive the finest vehicles, you have the finest clothes and things like that, but the money does not compare to happiness. And that income just was not hitting it anymore, because I had everything I needed. There was nothing else that I couldn't buy if I wanted. So that's kind of what led me. Like I said, it led to the divorce, because I was just tired of being by myself. It just got too stressful. So lifestyle change.